Welcome to My Irish Radio, music and culture news, your connection to everything happening in the world of Irish music and culture. I'm Jamie Flanagan. Each episode will share the latest news from Ireland's vibrant music scene, from traditional and folk to rebel ballads, pub tunes, Celtic rock, and today's top Irish pop. We'll also bring you updates on festivals, cultural events, and people keeping Irish heritage alive around the world. And remember, My Irish Radio is more than just a station. It's your community, your soundtrack, your voice. You can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com and through the links in the podcast description below. Here's the best part. You can be part of it. Host your very own show on My Irish Radio. Choose your playlist, share your stories, make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio. Let's get into what's happening this week in Irish music and culture.
We're looking at the pulse of Ireland, specifically just for the week ending February 7th, 2026. And I have to say, the energy feels, well, conflicted.
Conflicted is a good word. I'd almost say volatile. I mean, if you just listen to the music coming out, it sounds like a celebration.
Right, a party.
But then you read the texts, the legal filings, the city council debates, and it feels more like a battleground.
That's the exact tension I want to get into. It's this weird mix of turn up the volume on one side and shut it down on the other.
Exactly. And our goal today isn't just to, read off the news. It's to figure out how a country is expressing itself in 2026.
Whether that's through a guitar amp or a street sign.
A street sign, a film, a trade mission, it's all communication. And right now, the signals are getting pretty crossed.
Okay, so let's start with the loudest signal then. The music.
Yeah.
Because there's one name in this stack that immediately grabs you.
Oh, yeah. David Byrne.
The icon.
Yeah.
He's announced a headline show for St. Anne's Park in Dublin. Now, for anyone who might not know the Dublin venue scene, St. Anne's isn't just a stadium, is it?
No, not at all. It matters because St. Anne's has become this sort of curated space. It's big. Sure, you're talking 20,000 people, but it's not a generic concrete bowl. It has a vibe.
Okay.
So getting David Byrne there, especially now when his shows are basically these high-concept art pieces, it sends a message.
What's the message?
That Dublin is still a top-tier market for high art pop. It's a real badge of honor for the city's promoters.
It feels like a definite win. It makes you feel like, okay, the summer's going to be good, but there's a pretty big but in these sources.
There is. This is the other side of the coin.
Neil Young. The reports are confirmed. His tour is canceled. And the sources specifically mention the Cork date is gone. So beyond the obvious disappointment for fans, is there something more structural going on here?
I think it's entirely structural. We're seeing the fragility of what you could call the Legacy Act economy.
The Legacy Act economy. Explain that.
Well, think about it. The entire summer touring circuit often hangs on these massive names. Springsteen, the Stones, Neil Young.
Right.
Cities like Cork literally build their hospitality revenue plans around these gigs. Hotels, restaurants, everything gets booked up.
So when Neil Young pulls out, it's not just a ticket refund. It's a dent in the local GDP.
Precisely. It exposes the massive risk of basing your cultural economy on artists in their late 70s or 80s. The insurance costs alone are becoming astronomical.
So the whole model is becoming unstable.
Too volatile to bank on, yeah.
Which begs the question, if the Giants are too fragile, who steps up? Because looking at the awards season news here, the local scene seems pretty deep.
It's deeper than it's been in a long time. The Arte Choice Music Prize shortlist for 2026 just came out. And what strikes me is there's no single dominant sound.
I noticed that.
Mm.
You got a band like Just Mustard on there.
Right, who are bringing this noisy shoegaze kind of industrial thing.
And then you have an act like Pot Pot.
Pot Pot, right.
Which you just love saying. But then there's Maria Somerville doing something completely different, all atmospheric and dreamy. The ecosystem seems really healthy.
That's the key. A healthy scene isn't everyone trying to sound like the last big thing. It's everyone sounding like themselves. But if we're talking about the most interesting sound this week, we have to talk about the supergroup.
Dead Goat.
Dead Goat.
I mean, just the name alone, it's aggressive, it's memorable. But usually when I hear supergroup, I kind of roll my eyes.
Me too. It often feels like a cash grab.
But you think this is different?
I do. This feels more like a lab experiment. I mean, look at who's in it.
Okay, let's break it down. We've got members from Melogen.
Who are rooted in this kind of indie folk, very introspective songwriting.
The Lost Brothers.
Who are the absolute gold standard for acoustic harmony, very disciplined, very pure.
And The Basement.
Who are heavier, grittier, a totally different energy. So you're throwing all these different musical DNAs into a room together.
And their debut LP is coming in March. But why do this now? These guys are all successful on their own.
I think it's creative claustrophobia. In a small scene like Northern Ireland's, you know everyone, after a while you start to wonder, what if?
What if my folk song had a fuzz pedal on it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Dead Goat is the answer to that question. It's innovation by collision.
It's a chemistry set. You just hope it doesn't blow up. But they aren't the only ones releasing music. The list for this week it's a lot.
It's relentless.
We have First Class Rebel with Alive, 1K3 with One There, Dabdu, who is Dara Abdurrahman, with a track called Peter.
It just shows the sheer volume of what's being made. But there is one album release that I think is the perfect pivot for our whole discussion.
You talk about Ye Vagabonds.
Yes. Their new album is called All Tied Together.
All Tied Together. It's a lovely title. Very communal, very folk.
It is. But I want to sort of use that title as a question, because in the music world, maybe things are tied together, people are collaborating. But if you look at the rest of this news, the legal stuff, the political stuff, things feel like they're coming apart.
You're seeing a disconnect between the art and the rules.
A massive one. Let's look at the Free the Night campaign.
Right. This is the industry news from Northern Ireland. They're launching a legal challenge over licensing laws. Now, to most people, licensing laws just sounds incredibly boring.
It sounds like paperwork.
Why is this a big deal?
Because it's not about paperwork. It's about the right for culture to exist after dark. The current laws are incredibly restrictive. They're designed for early closing times.
So the argument is that culture doesn't just stop at 11 p.m.
Exactly. When the law says everyone goes home, you kill the late-night venues, the clubs where new scenes are born, you're basically legislating away the incubator for the next generation.
So on one side, you have Dead Goat trying to create something new.
And on the other, you have the law telling them to go home early. It's a direct conflict.
That's the battle for the night.
You're listening to My Irish Music and Culture News, brought to you by My Irish Radio, streaming the best in Irish and Celtic music all day, every day. From classic jigs and reels to the latest Irish rock and pub favorites, we celebrate the sound of Ireland worldwide. Want to be more than a listener? Be a host. Share your love for the Irish music by hosting your own show on My Irish Radio. It's easy to get started. Just send us an email, myirishradio@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com. Make My Irish Radio your Irish radio.
So on one side, you have Dead Goat trying to create something new.
And on the other, you have the law telling them to go home early. It's a direct conflict.
That's the battle for the night. But there seems to be an even louder battle happening in the daytime. In Belfast. On the street corners.
The signage controversy. Yeah, this is the heavy hitter this week.
Okay, let's unpack this slowly. Belfast City Council has changed the threshold for installing bilingual street signs, English and Irish. The new threshold is 15%.
15%. 1-5, correct.
That seems incredibly low. What was it before? You needed a majority, right?
It was much higher. In practice, it was basically a supermajority because if someone didn't respond, it counted as a no. Now, if just 15% of residents on a street ask for it, the process starts.
And the reaction has been pretty explosive.
It has. You have to remember the context here. In Northern Ireland, territory is identity. A street sign isn't just giving you directions.
It's a statement. The sources say opponents are calling this the greening of the city. That's a very charged phrase.
It is. The feeling from that side is that their environment, the very look of their street, is being changed to reflect a political identity that isn't theirs, that their own identity is being marginalized.
And it's not just talk. The reports mention a lot of vandalism.
Which just creates this horrible cycle. A bilingual sign goes up, it gets vandalized, the council replaces it, it gets vandalized again. The street sign becomes a proxy war.
It's just such a stark contrast to what we just talked about with the music. With Dead Goat, you have different backgrounds mixing to create something new and exciting.
Right.
And here, you have a sign on a pole, and people are breaking it because they have two languages on it.
It proves that while music is fluid, it can cross borders, physical space is finite, we all have to share the same street. And that album title, From Ye Vagabonds, All Tied Together, well, right now the infrastructure is screaming that we're very much divided.
Speaking of identity, I do want to zoom out a bit. We've been very focused on the island itself, but there's a global piece here that really surprised me. It involves St. Bridget.
Yes, the Irish Echo report.
So St. Bridget's Day has just passed. And normally you think of St. Bridget, I don't know, weaving crosses, old rural traditions.
Yes.
But this report is talking about trade missions in the U.S.
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's the rebranding of a saint.
Irish women are leading these business delegations to New York and Boston, and they're using St. Bridget's Day as the hook.
It's a masterclass in soft power. For decades, the main event was St. Patrick's Day.
Which in America often just means green beer.
Exactly. It's a party, not a boardroom meeting. But St. Bridget offers a totally different story. She represents female leadership, craft, wisdom.
So they're changing the Irish brand.
They're saying, we aren't just the land of the pub. We're the land of matriarchs and modern business. It's very smart.
It is, but,
Yeah.
and this is the duality that seems to define this week. At the exact same time, these modern businesswomen are using a saint for a converse in America, something very different is happening back home.
At Knox Shrine in County Mayo.
The contrast is just jarring. The bishops of Ireland are on their spring retreat, and they've just launched a new vocations monstrance.
And we should probably explain what that is. A monstrance is the ornate gold vessel used to display the consecrated host in traditional Catholic services.
It's a very traditional, very old school ritual object. And they're creating a new one specifically to pray for more priests.
So look at the two things happening at once. In the U.S., you have a secular, feminist, forward-looking use of a saint for global trade.
Right.
And back in Mayo, you have a return to the most mystical, traditional elements of Catholicism to try and solve an internal crisis.
One is looking out, the other is looking in.
And you can't understand Ireland in 2026 if you only look at one and not the other. The culture is holding both of those realities at the same time.
It really is a visual culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have the signs in Belfast, the monstrance in Mayo, and the cinema screens. We can't forget those.
No, and the big story there is the film Saipan.
The movie about the Roy Keane and Mick McCarthy blow-up at the 2002 World Cup.
The Civil War of Irish sports.
The sources say it's filling cinemas. Why are people still so obsessed with this? It was over 20 years ago.
Because it was a moment where the entire country had to pick a side. Were you Team Keane, the rebel perfectionist, or Team McCarthy, the pragmatic manager? Watching that film now is like national group therapy.
So we have Saipan looking at the past, Lord of the Dance doing its thing in Dublin, which is the steady cultural export. But there was one other film, a documentary in the Irish Independent, that I thought was the perfect counterpoint to all of this.
You mean A Quiet Love?
Yes, A Quiet Love. It's a new documentary about the Irish Sign Language community.
I thought this connection was so poetic.
Me too.
I mean, think about where we started. We spent all this time on the angry, loud fight over written words on signs in Belfast.
English versus Irish.
And then here comes this documentary about a whole community that communicates without any spoken or written words at all. It reframes the entire earth.
It does. In Belfast, language is being used as a weapon.
Right. It's about, my words are here to exclude you. In A Quiet Love, language is shown as a bridge. It's about this desperate, beautiful, human need to connect no matter what.
The theme of this entire week, then, really seems to be communication.
It is. David Byrne communicates with performance. Dead Goat communicates by smashing genres together. The bishops communicate through ancient ritual.
And Belfast argues about how to communicate a street name.
And the question for the listener is, which kind of communication is actually working?
That is the big question.
There's a lot of broadcasting happening, putting up a sign, releasing an album. But is anyone receiving? Are the two sides in Belfast actually listening to each other?
It takes me right back to that Ye Vagabonds album title, all tied together. It sounds less like a description of Ireland right now.
And more like a wish.
Or a challenge.
I think it is a challenge. The culture, the artists, the filmmakers, they're trying to do the tying. They're trying to weave it all together. But the infrastructure, the politics, the laws, they seem determined to cut the cords.
So for everyone listening, the next time you see a concert poster or even just walk past a street sign, don't just take it at face value. Ask yourself, what is this really signaling? And who's being left out of the conversation?
Because in 2026, even a piece of metal on a lamppost is a political statement.
There's no such thing as just a sign anymore.
Until next time.
See you then.
That's it for this episode of My Irish Radio, Music and Culture News. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you can hear the best in Irish and Celtic music 24 hours a day at myirishradio.com. If you ever dreamed of sharing your favorite tunes and stories, now's your chance. Become one of the hosts. Host your own show right here on My Irish Radio. Just send us an email. It's easy as that. myirishradio@gmail.com. Until next time, it's Jamie Flanagan. Keep the music playing and keep Ireland in your heart.